Hi, and welcome to Season 2 and January 2021. This is the eMTB Show podcast. This week we're going to be talking about Christmas gifts and new tech, a look back on 2020, what we think 2021 is going to hold for us, and some advice on e-bikes for new owners, anybody who got one off Santa Claus in December. We're also on YouTube now as well, so hopefully you'll join us there as well.
Hi Gary, how are you?
Very well, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. On this very cold Sunday evening.
Yes, January has arrived. 2021 has arrived.
Yeah, but it seems to have dropped from kind of reasonable temperatures over here to like -1.
Yeah, although my daughter's very jealous that everywhere else, even Spain, seems to be covered in snow at the moment. But yeah, it is cold. It's definitely fresh.
I don't remember the last time we had snow here. But when we went out for a night ride on last Thursday evening, and I think it probably took me 2 days for my core temperature to be able to be anything in the plus numbers.
Yeah, I think I can't remember what I think. The Brisk, my 100% Brisk gloves proved to be absolutely pointless in 2 degrees because it got to the point where I had to sit on the floor on my hands to try and get them to start feeling properly again. It was too cold.
It was too cold. But winter riding so far, thoughts?
Maintenance high. So every time I go out for one, I need to scrape the mud off everything, which is part of the fun. But yeah, I'm spending a lot more time cleaning the bike, definitely. And I'm noticing when I'm not spending enough time cleaning the bike because it doesn't work.
And fixing bits.
It has another fault, which is a bit annoying. Never used to get that on basic bikes years ago, but it is what it is.
Yeah, the old Specialized turn it on button issue.
Yeah, that's still a bit of a challenge, but and I haven't got my replacement yet. I can't remember what it's called, the control unit, but when that does arrive, then I'm going to swap that out.
Yeah.
Interestingly, there was when I was looking into it and researching it, I found a very interesting video about a hack that goes off the back of that, it piggybacks off the back, which was really interesting because it's completely hidden inside the frame, completely unlocks the bike.
What does it do?
Before, it just unlocks the motor, but you go into, I think you use the actual command unit. There's like a sequence of button presses that you have to do to actually set it at what level of unlocking you want it. So you can set the limit on the speed or the output of the motor, which was really interesting. So there's obviously some smarter stuff being developed now for those compared to the old badass that was a massive big lump of plastic stuck on the chainstay that nobody would obviously notice.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. I wonder whether Bros are going to do some bits in the firmware to try and stop people doing that, a bit like Bosch have done.
Yeah, is that actually a thing now? Is that?
Yeah,
you can do it, can't you? But it'll get reset.
Yeah, I did see. There's a screenshot on one of the websites, or it was on YouTube, that showed what the Bosch screen looks like from a dealer's perspective, and when they connected the motor to it, it basically had a field to say whether whether it thought that the bike had been chipped or not.
Did it just flash up cheat?
Yeah, I think it flashed up and said warranty void. Yeah. Make them pay. I have noticed that of the few times I've been out over the last few weeks, I've gone straight for the eMTB, and I haven't even thought about the other one that must not be named.
Turbo.
No.
It's not Voldemort.
No, the gravel bike.
Ah, okay.
I don't know what it is. I think it's maybe just not enough confidence and knowing that the mountain bike you can throw through anything and it won't.
Figures though, this is mountain bike season. This is mud and dirt and splashing through crap, and that's what it's all about.
True.
You can do that on a gravel as well, but
true. So something a bit different for this series, because those of you looking at this through YouTube can obviously see us. Why have we done that?
We have a YouTube channel. We need to promote it a bit more, I think. And I think there's 2 sides to it. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and a lot of them now have more coverage across more platforms. YouTube is one of those. It's a really popular place to listen to and watch podcasts. So we want to get on that and start using a bit more, film some more stuff.
Yeah, some videos, what not to do, how to do it,
Yeah.
how the best way not to do it is, how many replacement parts we've needed to fix the bits that I've tried to break.
Yeah, how many times it's taken me to fix a chain and replace it 4 times in the process. But I think of what I have done as well. Everything I'm buying these days, I'm buying multiples of just in case.
Except bikes.
Except bikes.
So we talked towards the end of the first series or the last series about ideas that we could get for Christmas. Well, what do you get? The top 10 things you could get an e-mountain biker for Christmas.
A middle-aged mountain biker.
Yes, other than the diet plan. What did you get?
I got a few bits and bobs. One of the coolest ones was a new light, which was very good, a new rear light. I've been rocking some really rubbish. Well, they're not rubbish, to be honest. That's cruel. Some eBay specials for the last few years that are, if you ever go eBay LED USB chargeable light on it's the most common one on there.
There seem to be about 12,000 manufacturers, all with exactly the same model. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one little factory somewhere in Shenzhen.
But you know what? It's really reliable. I mean, the new light we'll talk about in a minute. But that light that we had before, and we'll put a picture of it somewhere. It's really ultra reliable, and you can go through the middle of an aqueduct, and you've got this little tiny rubber flap that's stopping the USB charge port, and nothing ever gets in. It's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, the reason I needed a new was you couldn't see mine from the back, could you? Because it was too low down the frame.
Yeah, it was too low down the frame. But the new ones, the smart bike lights.
Smart Bike Light Cube Pro, isn't it?
Or Cube Light Pro or something. They talk about it on the website. I haven't got it up now, but it basically talks about the fact that it's got an ARM processor in it. But it's quite cool because it's got daytime running light mode. So it's got a flashing light, which actually, we've been out in the daylight and does make a difference. So it knows when it's daylight, it then knows when it's dark, and then the whole of it's like a rounded rectangle. Then the whole light flashes. But it also has...
Cube.
Yeah, that's the one. It also has... an accelerometer in it, so when you brake, the whole thing then flashes even more, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. It's very cool. I mean, the positioning of it as well. So it sits on the rails in your saddle, which is really good. So it's really high up. It's not being obstructed by anything unless you've got a saddlebag on, then it wouldn't fit at all. But it's tiny, and like you say, it's permanently just flashing when you're just riding normally. When it's dark, because it's got a light sensor in it, it goes up to, what was it? I'm trying to find the actual thing on here. It's 50% of its brightness when it's just normal riding, and then when you brake, it goes to 100%.
It's quite effective.
It's really bright. It's incredible. So here we go. So 50 lumens in normal mode, and then when you brake, it goes to 70 lumens. So it's not 50/50, but it's and it's a 400 milliamp hour battery, so it lasts for absolutely ages. Absolutely,
it's very good.
Really, really impressive.
And as you say, it comes with a mount that puts it on the rails for the saddle. It also just comes with a standard tube mount or down tube mount. So
but when it's on the saddle though, it's like quick release, and you can just pull it off its mount and just plug it in.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Recommended.
They do a few different models, and they also do some other ones as well, and some front lights and a rear light that can be seen from kind of 180 degrees. And I can't remember the term for it, but they basically, the other ones talk to each other. So if there's 2 or 3 of you riding abreast and one of you brakes, they'll all show up and brake, which I think is quite clever. Anything else for your Christmas?
Well, there's a bit of BAM going on.
Yeah.
What else?
Right, here's a test for you. What does it stand for? You're not allowed to cheat. No Googling.
So I'm not looking at my screen. I can't remember. And I know as soon as... Go on.
Bottled Air Magic.
That's the one. It doesn't. It's not what you expect. That's the problem.
No, because that's the only words that they could come up with that related to what was in the bottle that gave the word BAM.
It
But
should
very
be
cool though.
bloody arse, my, and then tire is flat.
Yeah, should be something like that. It is cool though. So we've talked about that in previous episodes.
Yeah. So we're bamming it now. And with a frame mount for it as well, which is quite cool.
Yeah,
Although I can't wait to see the day that you go over the bars, hit something hard, and catch that canister, and it just goes off
it's
like
bam. Yeah,
expanding foam instant. Completely cakes your bike in it. And it'll actually go bam.
and then there'll be nothing left to put in the tire.
Yeah.
I can't think of what bike stuff I got. Obviously the BAM, a bottle of BAM, and the bike mount. I also got some. My brother gave me some foamy grips for the bike, which I'll have to have a look at. I haven't even looked and see what they're called. I quite like the grips that are on the mountain bike already, so I haven't done anything with them. But they're like quite foamy. It's almost like memory foam. You like put your hands in, and then you can see where you've been gripping it. So I'll do a review and some pictures of those at some point. I did replace both tyres just before Christmas,
Yeah.
and that's made a huge amount of difference. After a lot of research, I put exactly what was on it before.
So you didn't go tan, which is I'm disappointed
No,
about.
didn't
Really.
go tan. It just wouldn't fit the yellow/green frame.
No.
So I went for the DHF on front and the rear,
Maxis.
and it did make quite a difference. The back was slipping like crazy.
That was nothing to do with the absolute slime we were trying to ride through at the time.
No, but that was literally just a mud bath.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Some
quite fun.
people pay for that.
Yeah, it wasn't that exciting. So looking back at 2020, it was an
Yeah, it's what a
interesting
year.
year, but ignoring the COVID and pieces like
obvious.
that, what do we think about what the state of biking was in 2020? E-biking specifically.
I think absolute bedlam. So I think, well, before 2020, there's obviously been e-bikes around for a while, and I think they were getting there was some momentum in it, but not a lot. You know, they were one very expensive, or who's still questioning them,
Yeah.
and the stuff that was out was shopper bikes with a massive battery under the pannier rack was the most common thing you saw on the road. So that was probably not helping. And then suddenly, everybody realised that they're not going to get on a bus anywhere. They need to go and do some exercise because they're now sat at home all day and they're going insane. And everybody wanted a bike, and it's weird, really, isn't it? Because if you think about it, there's lots of people concerned about jobs and job security and the economy. Yeah, everybody's going out and hooning loads of cash on bikes left, right, and centre, which doesn't make. It's the same. Somebody said about the motors industry. Somebody was saying that the car sales have gone through the roof. It's like, I thought everybody's worried about the jobs. What's going on?
It's probably
But I
just
think,
bored.
yeah, but just everybody wanted a bike and everybody's on bikes.
Yeah, I mean, the sales for the bike shops for electric bikes have been up kind of 200 or 300% last year on the year before. So it's been an amazing year for them, which obviously ploughs a huge amount back into the industry and to research and development. I know there are a couple of companies over here in Jersey that have done kind of cycle to work schemes, which is arguably a little bit amusing, as they've kind of given people a few £100 or £1,000 for a bike to buy it, and now you're not allowed to go to work anyway. So, and part of the proviso for having the money for the bike was that you actually cycle it to work. So that's
Cycle
quite
to
amusing.
town and back again.
Yeah. But I mean, you can't go anywhere now without seeing an electric bike somewhere, or electric mountain bike.
Yeah. And so I was trying to work out why one, because they're so expensive still, no matter what, they are expensive. Why are so many people buying electric bikes? And if you think about it, if you haven't ridden a bike for 20 years and you're suddenly thinking, I need to be able to get about, I need to keep fit or get fit, and I'm not getting on the bus anymore, I'm going to get a bike. Oh, Christ, no, that's going to be a sweaty, horrible mess. I don't want to do that. But here's the option of an e-bike. It's going to make that transition into pedalling world a lot easier. That's probably what's attracted most people to it. I mean, what made you get one over going out and just buying a Cannondale normal mountain bike, apart from the opportunity to spend money on tech?
I think it was the fact that I knew that, well, I was going to say I knew that I would use it more. I did think I would use it more, but I didn't think that I would use it and love it to the extent that I have done.
Yeah.
And I think once you've ridden one and you've gone around the block on it, within seconds you're like, wow. And then you use it because you don't even think, and we've talked about this before, you don't even think about hills or going up or out for a long ride or anything like that. You just don't even think about it. You just do it.
Yeah. It's more accessible, isn't it? It's a more accessible way to get on a bike and get somewhere than the old way. I mean, I've used to use mine to commute sometimes as well, and I used to say to people, the best thing about an e-bike is at the end of a day when you're absolutely knackered after working yourself to death, if you go outside and it's blowing a gale, it's going to be a horrible ride home. But on an e-bike, you just go sod it, turbo all the way home, smile on your face, it's all over. It's just more accessible, and it's interesting as well because I've had the same conversation with 2 bike shops in Jersey, the 2 that I would recommend people talk to, and they've all said they've consistently said people have bought e-bikes, got fit on them, and now start going, I really like cycling. I kind of wouldn't mind a road bike, or I wouldn't mind one of these and a non-e-bike. So I think it's definitely getting people back into cycling in a more comfortable, safer way, really, than just trying to sell them something ridiculous that then they get bored of within 5 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they hit a fitness limit too quick.
Well, they do. I think that's valid. It is interesting, though, now having owned one for, I don't know, well, mid-year this year will be 2 years, it does push the boundary of bike tech to its absolute limit in terms of wear and tear.
Yeah.
I've never, of all the years of owning bikes in different shapes and sizes, I've never been through the amount of kit on a bike that the mountain bike has over the last, from replacement derailleurs, chains, tyres, all sorts of things.
Yeah, it's interesting actually. There's a really good article on the ebikemtb.com all about what did 2020 look like from a servicing perspective, and they've done a big survey, and there was some really interesting stuff around. It wasn't reliability problems or motor problems. The biggest percentage of things that people had to have serviced were technical issues from wear and tear. So like things breaking way earlier than you expect them to.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. It's like, your traditional components on the bike failing quicker, which is I can kind of vouch for as well, to be honest. So I think there's a lot of stuff out there that's marketed as e-bike specific, and you think, is it just marketing? But I think it's becoming an actual reality now that things are having to be built tougher, and that they're going to have to start being made to last longer. Forks, there's a great GMB and Tech did a thing about forks and headsets the other day, where they were talking about the size, how headsets have changed in size over the years, and they're getting bigger again. They went through a weird stage in the early 90s where they were massive because nobody knew anything different, and they all got slimmer and thinner, and they got to the tapered stuff that we've got now. But e-bikes are making them all become bigger again because there's a lot more tension going, a lot more weight to deal with.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna be interesting what happens from a hardware and components point of view. But yeah, there's the amount of stuff. I'm quite surprised as well. I think the bike I've got is very good, but the wear is it's phenomenal. Really, it's quite interesting. I think we're we're kind of pushing them as well.
Well, I was just about to say, do you think we are? I mean, I'm pushing mine in terms of it normally takes some sort of heavy goods vehicle to be able to move me around, but I don't know whether kind of in terms of the use of I am, overdoing it. I don't know. It would be interesting to hear from other people as to how many bits they're replacing on theirs, or whether we've just got a specific type of Jersey grit that tends to spag up the mechanics.
I mean, I've had mountain bikes a lot, and I've crashed plenty of them, and I've never had to replace two sets of bars in a year because they've bent.
Yeah, true.
And I think it's not because they're rubbish bars. I think there's a lot more weight behind it, and there's a lot of stuff is under a lot more stress. So I think, yeah, I think there's a lot more going on than on a normal bike. I think that's part of the problem.
So, what would you say as a piece of advice to someone that got one over Christmas and is just starting out with it? We'll come up with the top 3 pieces of advice. There we go. It's nothing like putting us on the spot.
I would say, and I'm probably the worst person on the planet to be saying this, clean it properly every time we've used it, and oil everything properly every time you used it, and I think that's probably true about any bike, really. If you've spent a lot of money on a bike, that's what you should be doing anyway. But and it is really hard to come home from a ride that you're covered in mud and you just want to get inside and then clean it. I mean,
Yeah.
within a day, get it clean. But don't fall foul of just dumping it in the garage and leaving it for a week, because I've had points where the common stuff stops working properly, like your chain just won't go round. I spent today, I had an exciting morning taking the jockey wheels off mine and cleaning them because it needed doing. And it's like, if you look at the state of the cassette and the jockey wheels on the back, it was just trashed. And it's, it's the same with any bike, but I think when you're spending the amount of money you are on an e-bike, it's worth doing. So just general, and I think this is the thing that we've had a conversation with bike shops over here. We did a podcast about it where we talked about maintenance, and they said, "Oh no, you got it. It's all stuff that should be done at the shop." But actually, just basic bike maintenance that every owner of a bike should do is more important on an e-bike than anything else because of the stresses that go through it. So,
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think clean everything and tighten everything. Every bolt that you can see, tighten. I do think my rear derailleur escapade was due to a bolt that had probably come out a little bit, and the chain just caught it and ripped it off. And you don't need very many tools to do that. You obviously need a set of Allen keys. Ideally, you need the Park Tool torque wrench, the no, kidding.
So I got a decent voucher for Christmas from family, so I spent it all on bike tools, and I didn't go anywhere near Park Tools because I kind of wanted to get all the bases covered. So you can, and I did. I just went on Amazon and I just bought a set of chain tools, which was a chain pliers, a set of decent chain splitter, a wear indicator, which I don't need because I already know my chain's completely worn, but it's good to have in the future. And then I got a chain whip, a rear cassette removing kit, which is all the different parts you need for that. What else? A grease gun, the one that you stick on the end of a tube of grease, and a few other bits and bobs, and some more muck off stuff. So I've now got and a set of I think the Star Bolt keys, is it
Right.
called?
Yeah.
Torques.
Yeah.
The colour coded, they look like Allen keys, and then a set of Allen keys as well. So I've got everything probably, apart from I have got a torque wrench already, so I'm probably all right. I've got everything I need for literally less than 100 quid. And I weighed it up. I thought, right, how many times a year I'm going to be changing the cassette?
No,
Once, but I will do it every year.
I think that is fair.
So I've got everything I need. I've got a drawer in my toolbox in the garage that's just bike stuff. I've got a X Tools bench mounted bike mount, which is basically like the freestanding one, but it just goes on a bench. So I've now got, in reality, I've probably got everything I need for the sort of stuff I'd do myself. If there's anything more serious, like taking the motor out, I'm not going to take a bottom bracket out because there isn't one.
What about a set of
Where are you going with this?
brake piston reliever thingies?
Yeah, so I have got a Magura bleed kit coming, but it's just disappeared in the post. But it wasn't expensive actually. I don't think it's basically the one that they recommend. It's off one of their forums. But it wasn't on Amazon. I got it from somewhere else, and that's just. I'm never gonna do a full tear down on my brakes, but it means at least if I've got air in them or I've had a
top it
leak,
up.
because I can top it up, and that's all that's for.
It's probably one of those things that's not desperately complex. I think once you've done it
No,
once and learned the knack of it.
Yeah, I think like anything, when you don't know how to do it, it looks quite terrifying. But once you've done it once, it's fun. Like jumping off a building.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. So going back to washing.
Maintenance, basic maintenance, like you would do on any bike. Absolutely, do it. Don't scrimp on it at all, because everything wears so much quicker. What about you?
I think go out and enjoy it. I know that sounds stupid, but just every opportunity you've got, just take it out. Whether it's raining, whether it's sunny, whether it's probably not snowing, it's probably not desperately sensible. But whatever it is, just go and enjoy it, because the number of times it's been horrible or late and I'm like, you know what, I really just don't feel like it. Those just been great rides. Just the ability and the smile that it puts on your face to actually go out and pedal along at some ridiculous speed. And you are still pedaling, much to those people that say you cheat. You are still exercising. I'm exercising way more than I would have done thinking about a way to exercise. I'm actually out there doing it, which makes the difference.
Watching YouTube videos about
exactly. Oh, I'm very tired watching that. And when they say you like hit the subscribe and hit the like button, I'm too tired to do that. I can't do that.
It's
too exhausted.
So
I think that
you know what I'd
advice.
also say about that though. So to second that, I would say yes, get out and use it. But I'd also, and I'm victim of not believing this for many years. Buy yourself, invest in really good riding kit. So buy kit for the seasons, because then you can go out and it doesn't matter what it is. If you've got the right gear on, you won't feel terrible. Don't go out in boating shoes and jeans.
Or wearing hunter boots and a barber.
But definitely get the right gear.
I think I've got a season missing from my riding gear, because I'm trying to think what season it is. They're only
polo season.
Yeah. I think my issue is it's when it's cold. I can deal with the heat because you just wear less. I can deal with wet because you just wear all the gore stuff and all of that stuff. It's when it's cold. My head got very cold. And the same reason why I really like that POC helmet, because it vents all of the cold air as you're going along without having. It also puts all the cold hair in. Yeah. So I need to look at that. A skull cap.
Yeah, that's what they're called. Right. I think that's what they're called. And exactly. I've got my Brisker gloves are brilliant in the rest of the year, but not at the moment. I kind of need somebody to tell me what gloves I should be wearing.
Sheepskin.
Mittens with string through them.
With the string through. But it would have to be like ultra lightweight cycling string.
Yeah, it'd have to be gore.
Yeah.
It'd have to be made out of brake cable or something. I tried wearing like a 2-layer glove a couple of rides ago that was like an inner and an outer. Weren't bike specific ones, and it was the worst thing I ever did because I couldn't tell what I was touching or if I had proper grip on the handlebars or anything. So I need some proper winter riding gloves, and that's like they're going to be probably going to be quite expensive. I'm probably going to use them for 6 weeks, but it's worth.
But they're going to make a difference.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the other night when we went out, I was in pain.
I stood in the shower for about an hour afterwards, going, I still can't feel anything, and the next day I was like still shivering. So. If I'm not going to get COVID by being near anyone that's got it, I'm going to create it myself.
You will be a variant.
So that does make quite a difference. The right clothes. I think that probably is the top 3. And for those of you that haven't tried one and are like, is it cheating? Will I like it? I think 2 minutes on it. You'd be like, I've got to have this. I can't go without it.
Yeah, I still look at plenty of non-e-bikes There's a nuke-proof one that's just come out that's absolutely stunning, and I think every time I look, I think, oh my god, I'd love that bike. I looked at the price and said, oh my god, I can't afford that bike. It's more expensive than your average e-bike, and it's amazing. But I know if I got that, I'd go out for a ride. I think this is amazing. It's so light, it's so nimble. Feck, I'm knackered. I wish I had my e-bike. So, I know where I am in my life. I'm happy with what I've got.
Yeah, I still really pleased with mine. What, nearly a year and a half later.
Yeah.
Remains to be seen whether I made the right move with the second one, but we'll figure that one out in due course.
Yeah.
Aspirations for 2021, cycling wise, obviously not retirement.
Yeah, I was supposed to be retired by now. I still want to go away. Whether it happens or not is another thing. I'm desperate to ride somewhere like Wales, just because it's not just somewhere else, but it's just a stunning place. I absolutely love that place anyway. And to go there with a decent bike and make a proper, a bit of an epic adventure would just be cool as. So that's the big thing I want to do in 2021. Everything else, ride more, definitely technically get better at riding, because I'm quite good at throwing myself down something because I've just got this innate stupidity about me. I still think I'm 18, but I take a lot longer to heal. I just want to be technically better at doing it, so I can actually go down something knowing I'm doing it the right way instead of just by luck.
Yeah.
Because there's loads of stuff. I mean, you watch them on YouTube. There's loads of stuff where people are doing this really flowy rides and they're going down reasonably big drops, and it looks like they're going down a curb, just because they're technically capable of hitting it in the right way. I'd like to get like that.
I think it's
you
interesting.
You probably don't want to, because you always go a different way when I start doing stuff like that.
Yeah, I do. I'm just going to go left.
I'll be you at the bacon roll shop.
Shall I order two, or will he survive? I'll maybe just I'll eat it anyway. That's fine. I'll order two. I've completely lost my train of thought. What I was going to say. I can't remember now. Must have been absolute rubbish.
So,
I do think,
for me, get away and get better technically.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think anything is going to be latter half of this year. I think it's going to be 4 to 6 months before, certainly for Jersey, before everyone's been vaccinated, and then it's all a bit more reliable. And maybe that will ease up during the summer when the virus goes into hibernation because it's too hot.
Yeah.
But we'll just have to wait and see on that one, I think.
Yeah, definitely. What about you? What else? Or is that the same?
I want to get away. I do want to get a bit more confident on it. I still have this massive fear of getting too close to the edge when I'm somewhere where I shouldn't, and it's just like a massive magnet that just pulls me. And I know if I actually just ignored it, then it would be fine. So I think doing some of that stuff, going out more in the winter. I feel like we did more last winter than we've done this winter.
Yeah, but I think December has just been so wet. It was ridiculous. I think we did more after Christmas anyway last year, to be honest. But
yeah, maybe
let's just push it a bit
maybe.
more.
So I do want to go out more. I'd like to do a bit more maintenance myself on the bike, because I know there's bits that need done on it that I haven't looked at. After a couple of bits that needed replaced, I don't particularly want to have to take it in and let that happen again. I'd like to get there before it happens. But I think I think it's just a factor of obviously age and commitments and family. Just finding the time to actually sit and say, I've got 2 hours or 3 hours now where I've got to do this, and you can lay stuff out and do it properly, rather than I've only got 15 minutes and you run into wherever your bike den is, try and do something, do half a job because you've got 10 minutes, and then that's the real failure. So I think one of my New Year's resolutions will be to spend a bit more time to do that and actually enjoy that time.
Yeah. So here's a classic example of that. I think I've talked about it before. I need some new valves in my wheels because they're just knackered, and I've for a while now I've been talking about doing it. I was in a bike shop the other day in town, and they buying some muck off stuff because I started to have a bit of an obsession with it now. And
Bit.
they actually had muck off valves, which are the ones I've been wanting to get for ages. They've got them in stock, so I bought a set in the petrol. I think it's petrol. It's coloured. Really, really cool. And I want to do them, and because I know my valves are knackered. But I also know that is not. It's not a technically complicated job to do, because you don't, with the muck off ones, you don't even have to choose which type of rim you've got, because basically the way the valve sits in the rim has a different seal, so
Yeah.
you don't have to work out which one it is. You get all of them with them. They're brilliant. But it's a big job. Not technically, it's going to take me quite a bit of time, because I've got to take the wheel off, get the air out of the tyre, get the tyre off, clean it all out.
Retape it if you need to.
Tubeless, probably retape it, so I'd have to buy tape as well just in case. Go through that whole process, and because I've never done a tubeless tyre before, I'm going to have to take my time. I actually don't have that much time available, so they're now sat on a nail in the garage, waiting for the day that I actually get a chance to do them. Kind of need to change my way around that.
No, so I think there's a secret here. The secret is to record a loop, right, of you like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then when you go on a Zoom call for work, play the loop. Bit like the old days where they used to like put the picture up in front of the CCTV camera of what the picture would look like. Do that. As long as no one asks you any questions, you can then go into the bike den and carry on stuff. I mean, obviously you can't do that now because they would have listened to this.
Yeah. Gary, are you fully committed to this? Yeah.
Yeah, you could get yourself in a whole heap of trouble. But it would be quite amusing anyway.
So yeah, time, agreed. Definitely finding the time to do this stuff. Yeah, so it's one of those things I've just got to do. So I did spend some time today playing with stuff. Took my chain off, put it back on, just to make sure I could remember how to do it, because I've not done it for years. Took my jockey wheels off because they're just slime balls. I can't understand how anybody can clean a derailleur without properly taking it off and stripping it, because I've used an entire can of degreaser before, just trying to get all the muck out of it, and it doesn't work.
And when you put the jockey wheel back, do you grease it rather than just assume that the lube from the chain will grease it?
So I was careful, because I took them. I mean, they were spotless when I got them back on. They weren't for very long when I put the crappy chain back on. But I lubed the inside edge of basically where the shaft goes through. But then I used Loctite on the actual screw to make sure that stays in, because I don't want to go through your thing.
And does the jockey wheel still turn?
No. No, it don't. Yeah, it's solid. I torqued it to 4,000 bar.
Yeah, the shape of it is like that now.
Yeah, they're now wafer thin.
Well, that's cool, and you can use it to like slice cucumber. It's so sharp.
Yeah. So yeah, that was as good as I got today, and I was quite pleased with myself. And I did give the bike an immense clean the other day. I got some love because I obviously bought a load of new muck off.
And are there any other muck off bits that you bought?
I bought a pouch.
Could you explain what this is?
I'm going to have to bear with me, talk while I go onto the muck off site, because it needs to be explained.
Well, it's Gary sent me a picture of these things that he bought, and I couldn't quite figure out what one of them was, but it was almost the only thing I can say it's like is like a children's pencil case with the muck off logo on it.
I mean, literally, essentials case.
Did you what? So it's got
this is a
Cambridge geometry set.
Yeah, it's got a what was that one called with the pin in one end and a pencil in the other?
Compass. Oh, compass for you.
Compass. So this is a genuine biking thing, this essentials thing, because roadies have them with their phone and their gel and their house keys, and
is it waterproof
for their espressos? Probably not.
No.
It normally goes in. It normally goes in the back of your jersey if you're a roadie.
Right.
Oh, and interestingly, for the mountain bikers of the world, instead of having a mobile phone, £10 for the single espresso from the boutique coffee shop, they have a a gas canister and some tie levers and some Allen keys in it instead. Different people. But yeah, I got one of those just
Interesting.
because it's cool and it matches my muck off COVID mask.
Right, Paul. What? Have you seriously
Yeah,
got one?
yeah, it's cool. It keeps my face clean as well. I also have muck off antibacterial hand spray. I bought 25 of them at the beginning of the lockdown because I thought there was going to be an antibacterial hand spray shortage on the planet. So I bought a load
I
of them.
think there was, but some of the manufacturers that do it at bulk managed to do it rather than the boutique kind of muck off hand
It's very
sanitizers.
cool stuff. Yeah, so I've got the camo face mask
Do
and the
they do
camo
one for
accessory.
e-bike owners as well? A different one?
Yeah, it's got a charging plug on the side of it. I can recommend a shop in Jersey that does a lot of very good muck off. It's got a very good range of muck off for the Jersey residents.
Right, I'll be there tomorrow.
They also have the muck off personal protection kit in stock, which is basically hand spray, a mask, a screen cleaner, and a finishing cloth, which is also basically what was known in the 20s as a handkerchief.
Don't know what a finishing cloth is.
I know.
It's wrong on many levels. You haven't talked about something you got at Christmas that I've just remembered.
What was that?
It was a cordless pressure washer.
Yeah, so that's a problem when it's a Christmas present to yourself. It gets cancelled out. Yes, so we've talked about this before actually, because it's one of those things I've always wanted, partly because I've got a van and it needs to be in the van when we go to Wales with the bikes in the back and everything else. I got the Works Hydra Shot pressure washer. So there's loads of stuff on. Loads of people say don't use pressure washers on eMTBs because they're too powerful and they'll get in water into places that you shouldn't get it, and I completely get that. This is nowhere near traditional plug-in pressure washer power, but it's good enough to get grounding dirt off a frame. I suppose you still don't shove it down a hole next to the crank or into the motor,
Yeah.
but it's bloody brilliant, to be honest. I mean, I even washed the whole van with it the other day.
It's literally just a rechargeable pack that goes on the end of a standard garden hose.
Kind of. That's one way of looking at it. It's basically it looks like a cordless drill with
Yeah.
a big battery on the back and a lance, and that's it. And it's got a high and low setting, which is completely pointless because low is basically like a 75-year-old having a piss. It's just absolutely pointless.
Not for the
But the
75-year-old.
yeah, well, unless he's sat watching TV at the time.
Yeah, true.
So it's and it's got little, it's on the end of the lance. You could do like normal pressure washers. You've got different fan sizes and stuff, but it's brilliant. It really is good. And I was thinking, oh, it's not going to have very good battery life. It's going to be hammering itself and done in 5 minutes. So I washed the bike with it the other day, and because it was fine and it was fully charged, I did a whole muck off job on it, washed it, then used the brushes and everything, and then cleaned it off. And I spent a good 20 minutes washing the bike, which is more than I normally do. I normally look at it and then walk away. And then I was like, how much battery life has this thing got left? Press the button on the back, still 2 bar. It was a 3 bar thing, so it was
Oh, wow.
more than halfway. So then I washed my van with it, and it was absolutely amazing. It was plugged into a hose, which was better. I think it performs better plugged into a mains hose. But you can also just use a bucket, so it comes with a tube that you can stick into a bucket and use that. And I've done that before. And you can even get like a liter water bottle screw onto it. So if you're in the middle of nowhere and you feel like you need to pressure wash something, and you've got a little bottle of water,
Oh,
you
that
can.
sounds cool. But the 75-year-old's trousers probably need pressure washing by that point.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm really impressed. For a mountain biker who, so this is the only thing I don't get why Muc-Off sell a pressure washer for e-bikes when these people say don't pressure wash e-bikes. But this thing is absolutely brilliant. It's not too intense. It's just the right thing.
Oh, we'll
And
put
it
some
takes
links.
seconds to set up.
Yeah, we'll put some links into the show notes for that. But that does sound very good.
Yeah.
And
It's cool.
I think that probably draws us to a close of this, the first episode of Series 2.
Yes, already.
Scary. So thank you very much for listening, and thank you for watching. For those of you watching this, we will catch you in the next episode. If you'd like to contact us, then contact us with our email address, podcast@the emtbshow.com, or on Instagram or Twitter, both of them unsurprisingly at the eMTB show.
Yeah. And we should also make sure that the YouTube link is in the show notes today.
Yeah, definitely. That's one for the notes that I've been making, hence holding a pen. So thank you very much, Gary. I will speak to you on the next episode.
Speak soon. Thanks, everyone. Bye.